Hello everyone and welcome to my BNB Metro official channel. You uses Taylor's ring to propose to me? Brooke yells at Ridge after finding out his dirty action. Donna's magnificent telephone call, Brooke's doomed choice. While Donna Logan answers a remarkable phone call, Brooke Logan will make a fateful choice. Donna might call Eric Forrester or perhaps take a call from him as she has been missing her honey bear while he has been in Italy. In any case, Donna will be receiving updates by phone on some startling news. Eric will probably acknowledge that he is rather worried about a marriage proposal after seeing Nick Marone with an engagement ring box. Before Nick can persuade Brooke to become his fiancée, Donna might lose it and pressure Eric to take action. Ridge Forrester will then attempt to speak with Brooke, but it appears that she will ignore him and concentrate on her boat ride with Nick. Ridge will be seen sulking as he returns to the hotel, where Eric will tell him about Nick's alleged engagement plan. Ridge will have to get down to the docks in order to find Brooke and make plans to end this situation. Brooke will regrettably decide to climb on the back of Nick's boat, which is a disastrous choice. It won't appear to be a safe scenario, particularly when Nick begins to drive erratically because of Ridge's distant presence. All of this is leading up to Brooke's terrifying fall, which will leave her in the sea and require Ridge's assistance to rescue her. John Finnegan will put in a lot of effort to discover what Grace Buckingham is concealing in the interim. It's obvious that Grace's attempts to allay Finn's fears and persuade him to stop acting are failing. Grace is likely to get into more problems the more Finn probes. Ridge's face speaks for itself. When Brooke Logan made the decision that she wanted to be with Nick, Ridge Forrester's expression definitely revealed the truth. Ridge's face speaks for itself. However, does anyone find this surprising? Ridge has been behaving as if he has been deeply in love with Taylor the entire time, even though everyone knows that is completely untrue. However, Brooke was completely stunned when he turned the tables on Ridge. This is because it's obvious that this man only loves himself. As our devoted readers are aware, the issue generated a lot of discussion on social media. It should have happened sooner, several people even said in their comments. I hope Ridge and Taylor have a happy life together. It's nice to wish, but I know the show will eventually bring Ridge and Brooke back together. Did Ridge truly love Brooke all along? I am only anticipating the expression on achy breaky Taylor's face when she discovers that the Ridge has returned to Brooke for the millionth time, commented another show reviewer. Brooke will be held responsible by Steffi and Taylor. Additionally, there was the comment, Ridge needs to sulk for a minute. With his pitiful rear end. However, since his fiancée is at home awaiting the conclusion of his business trip, Ridge shouldn't give a damn about Brooke's partner. Ridge Forrester's love, a fragile castle built on whispered promises and the deceptive sparkle of an emerald, exploded into a supernova of betrayal the moment the truth slithered from its hiding place, shattering Brooke Logan's world not with a whimper, but with the deafening, soul-rending roar of her own devastated fury. You used Taylor's ring to propose to me? The accusation wasn't merely a question, it was a primal scream ripped from the deepest, most violated core of her being, a sonic boom that rattled the very foundations of their opulent surroundings, bouncing off cold marble and priceless art with the violence of a physical blow, carrying within it the cumulative weight of every past deception, every whispered doubt. Every agonizing moment of insecurity she'd ever battled in the shadow of Taylor Hayes, now made horrifically, irrevocably tangible in the cold, heavy stone that had, mere hours ago, symbolized Ridge's eternal devotion but now sat like a malevolent, mocking artifact on her finger. Taylor's ring, Taylor's legacy, Taylor's ghost made flesh and gemstone, a deliberate, calculated insult disguised as romance. Every cherished memory of his proposal, the soft candlelight, the tremor in his voice he'd framed as vulnerability, the way the emerald had caught the firelight like captured hope, curdled instantly into something grotesque, a staged performance where she, Brooke, had been the unwitting dupe, the punchline in a cruel joke orchestrated by the man she trusted most. The emerald's deep green facets, which moments before had seemed to hold the verdant promise of their future, now reflected only the chilling void of Ridge's duplicity, each glittering plane a mirror showing her own profound foolishness, the depth of his cowardice, and the undeniable, sickening evidence that even in this, the most sacred moment of recommitment, Taylor was present, her ownership embedded in the very metal encircling Brooke's finger, a brand of humiliation seared onto her skin. The realization wasn't gradual, it was an instantaneous, white-hot detonation within her mind, incinerating logic, incinerating hope, incinerating the fragile truths they'd built over shattered pasts, leaving only the raw, exposed nerve endings of utter betrayal. How dare he? How dare he stand before her, weaving sonnets of undying love and fresh beginnings, while palming off the symbol of his deepest, most tumultuous connection to her fiercest rival? It wasn't just cheap, it was sacrilegious, a profane desecration of the vows he'd uttered, a recycling of intimacy that belonged irrevocably to another woman, to Taylor, the psychiatrist, the mother of his children, the eternal specter haunting the corridors of Brooke's happiness. The ring, suddenly monstrously heavy, felt less like jewelry and more like a shackle forged from Ridge's lies and Taylor's lingering claim. Had he plucked it from some forgotten drawer in Taylor's old room? Had he held it while reminiscing about their past? Had he even bothered to wipe it clean of her essence before offering it to Brooke as if it were something new, something pure, something meant solely for her? The sheer, breathtaking audacity of it choked her, a physical constriction in her throat that momentarily stole her breath before fueling the next volcanic eruption of words. "You lied to my face, Ridge. You looked into my eyes, promised me forever, and slipped her history onto my hand like it was nothing. Like I was nothing. Like what we have, what I thought we had, is just some cheap sequel you can stage with leftover props." Her voice, initially a shattering crescendo, now descended into a low, dangerous tremolo, vibrating with a fury so intense it seemed to warp the air around them. Her eyes, wide and blazing with unshed tears of pure rage, locked onto his with the unflinching intensity of a predator sighting wounded prey, seeing not the man she loved, but the architect of this devastating humiliation. "Is that all I am to you? A convenient stand-in? A placeholder until Taylor inevitably drifts back into your orbit? Did you think I wouldn't know? Did you think the ghost of her wouldn't cling to this stone?" Or worse, her voice dropped to a venomous, icy whisper, each word a shard of glass. "Did you want her here? Is this some sick way of keeping her close, even as you pretended to choose me? Did you get some perverse thrill out of binding me to her memory, making me wear the symbol of your past with her while pledging your future to me?" The implications spiraled, each more devastating than the last. It spoke of a fundamental disrespect that eroded the very bedrock of their relationship, a callous disregard for her feelings, her dignity, her very identity separate from the eternal Brooke-Taylor-Ridge triangle. It revealed a cowardice so profound it took her breath away. He couldn't even be bothered to invest in a new symbol for their love, opting instead for the deceptive ease of repurposing the old, hoping the shine would blind her to its tainted history. And beneath it all, the most corrosive poison, the undeniable proof that Taylor Hayes, intentionally or not, remained an active, tangible force in Ridge's emotional landscape, her presence so potent that even the metal meant to bind Brooke to him was first shaped for her finger. Brooke's hand shot out, trembling violently, not in supplication, but in an instinctive, overwhelming need to rid herself of the contaminating object. The emerald, once a beacon, now felt like a radioactive brand burning her skin, a physical manifestation of Ridge's infidelity to their present moment. "Take it," she spat, the words thick with disgust, her fingers fumbling with a frantic, almost hysterical energy against the cool band, the beautiful setting now an instrument of torture. "Take this relic of your life with her. I won't wear it. I won't be part of this recycled romance, this second-hand proposal. You don't get to offer me Taylor's leftovers and call it love, Ridge. You don't get to build our future on the crumbling foundations of yours with her." The ring, finally wrenched free, didn't clatter gently. Brooke hurled it with all the force of her shattered heart and incandescent rage towards him, not caring where it landed, on the floor, against the wall, lost forever in some plush carpet, its trajectory a perfect metaphor for the trust he'd obliterated. "That ring," she hissed, her chest heaving, tears of pure, unadulterated fury finally spilling over, tracing hot paths down cheeks flushed with humiliation and rage, "is a lie. Just like your proposal. Just like every word that came out of your mouth when you put it on me. It's not a promise, Ridge, it's a tombstone. It's the burial shroud for whatever pathetic illusion I was clinging to about us, about you." The silence that followed her outburst wasn't empty, it was thick with the fallout of her detonation, heavy with the suffocating weight of betrayal, the air crackling with the static of her unanswerable questions and the chilling certainty that the man standing before her, pale and perhaps stammering denial she could no longer even hear through the roaring in her ears, was a stranger capable of a cruelty she'd never fathomed. His love now exposed as a cheap, tarnished counterfeit revealed by the sickening, inescapable provenance of Taylor Hayes's emerald ring. The proposal was dead. The future was ash. And all that remained was the echoing devastation of Brooke's question, a monument to his dirty action. "You used Taylor's ring to propose to me?" It wasn't just a sentence, it was the epitaph of their love. Brooke Logan's Italian idol, a precarious balance struck amidst the lingering ghosts of past loves and the intoxicating, perhaps illusory, promise of a fresh start with Nick Marone, was irrevocably shattered not by a visible storm, but by the shrill, insistent ring of a telephone thousands of miles away in Los Angeles, a sound that carried the weight of impending disaster across continents and directly into the heart of Donna Logan. Donna, adrift in the cavernous silence of Eric Forrester's mansion, her mansion too, yet feeling profoundly like an echo chamber amplifying her loneliness, had been meticulously counting the hours, the minutes, since her beloved honey bear Eric had departed for Italy under the guise of business, though both knew the magnetic pull drawing him back was the ever-tumultuous orbit of his former wife, Brooke. The gnawing ache of his absence had become a physical thing, a constant hum beneath the surface of her meticulously maintained composure, making the sudden vibration of her phone not just a connection, but a lifeline she lunged for with desperate hope. Whether she initiated the call, her fingers trembling as she dialed the international number, her voice thick with longing and thinly veiled anxiety as she asked about the Italian weather and the state of Eric's heart, or whether it was Eric himself, perhaps seeking solace or burdened by a secret too heavy to bear alone, the connection crackled to life, charged with an unspoken tension that instantly stilled Donna's breath. Eric's voice, usually a deep, reassuring timbre, held a tremor, a hesitation that spoke volumes before he even formed the words, a prelude to the stunning revelation that would detonate in Donna's carefully curated world. He had seen Nick Marone, not just casually strolling the picturesque Italian streets, but clutching a small, velvet box, unmistakably, terrifyingly, an engagement ring box, his expression a volatile cocktail of determination and nervous anticipation. Eric's concerns, voiced with the weary authority of a man who had witnessed decades of Brooke's passionate, often disastrous, romantic entanglements, weren't mere speculation, they were a chilling diagnosis, a prediction of another imminent, catastrophic collision course for Brooke's heart. "Donna," Eric's voice, strained with genuine dread, traveled down the line. "I saw him. Nick, with a ring box. He's going to propose. I feel it in my bones. We have to stop this, now, before Brooke, caught up in the moment, the scenery, his charm, before she says yes to another monumental mistake." Donna's reaction was instantaneous and volcanic. The stunning news wasn't just heard, it was felt, a visceral punch to the gut that expelled a choked gasp, her carefully manicured nails digging into the plush fabric of the sofa as the world tilted violently. "A ring," she shrieked, the sound raw and echoing in the empty room, her carefully constructed composure shattering like dropped crystal. "No. Eric, no. You have to do something. You have to stop him. You can't let Nick Marone manipulate her, trap her, when she's vulnerable, when she's finally starting to." Her voice fractured, dissolving into near hysterical pleas, images of Brooke, radiant and foolishly happy, accepting Nick's proposal flashing before her eyes, intertwined with the inevitable, soul-crushing fallout she knew would follow. "Get down there, Eric. Talk to her. Find Ridge. Do whatever you have to do. Don't let him put that ring on her finger. Please." Her desperation was a tangible force, pushing Eric through the phone, transforming his concern into an urgent mandate. Fueled by Donna's near panic, Eric immediately sought out the one person whose intervention might carry the most weight with Brooke, her ex-husband, the perpetually tormented Ridge Forrester. Finding Ridge likely brooding over a coffee or sketching absently, Eric delivered the explosive intelligence about Nick's apparent intent, the description of the ring box landing with the impact of a grenade. Ridge's reaction was a predictable storm cloud of disbelief, possessiveness, and simmering fury, the thought of Nick Marone, a man he considered fundamentally wrong for Brooke, daring to propose marriage ignited a fierce, protective blaze within him. He wasted no time, striding purposefully towards the lakeside, determined to intercept Brooke, to inject a dose of stark reality into whatever romantic fantasy Nick was weaving. He found her, perhaps bathed in the golden afternoon light, seemingly carefree and receptive to Nick's attentions, a vision that only fueled Ridge's dread. He approached, his voice low and urgent, trying to pierce the bubble of her apparent contentment. "Brooke, we need to talk. Now. It's important," he implored, his eyes searching hers for any sign of the woman who knew the complexity of their shared history. But Brooke, perhaps deliberately shielding herself from Ridge's intensity, perhaps genuinely swept up in Nick's narrative of a fresh beginning, dismissed him with a wave that felt like a physical blow. "Not now, Ridge," she might have said, her tone cool, distant, her focus entirely on Nick and the promise of the awaiting boat ride. "Whatever it is, it can wait. I'm busy." The dismissal was absolute, a door slammed shut in Ridge's face. Watching Brooke turn her back on him, walking away towards Nick and the gleaming boat, felt like a confirmation of Eric's fears and Donna's distant hysteria. Defeated, heavy with a sense of impending doom he couldn't articulate, Ridge retreated back towards the hotel, a dark cloud of foreboding trailing him, where Eric awaited, ready to confirm the worst. Nick was almost certainly planning to propose on that boat. The confirmation was the spark Ridge needed, transforming his moping retreat into a desperate, adrenaline-fueled sprint back towards the docks. Every second counted. He scanned the shoreline frantically, his heart pounding a frantic rhythm against his ribs, the tranquil beauty of the lake now mocking him. His mission was singular, born of decades of tangled love and fierce protectiveness: find Brooke and stop Nick Marone's proposal at all costs. Meanwhile, blissfully unaware of the frantic drama unfolding around her or the stunning phone call that had set it in motion, Brooke made the fateful, doomed decision that would etch this day into infamy. Laughing, perhaps feeling a reckless sense of freedom or simply trusting Nick implicitly in the moment, she allowed him to help her climb onto the back platform of his powerful speedboat, a precarious perch chosen for the thrill of the wind and spray, offering an unobstructed view but minimal safety. It was a choice made in the giddy blindness of potential romance, a gamble with fate she didn't realize she was taking. The scene instantly radiated danger: the sleek, unstable surface, the powerful engine idling, the lack of secure handholds. And the danger escalated exponentially the moment Nick, casting a glance towards the shore, spotted Ridge Forrester racing towards them, his figure growing larger, his intent unmistakably hostile. Ridge's arrival wasn't a deterrent, it was gasoline on the fire of Nick's jealousy and possessiveness. A dark, competitive fury ignited in Nick's eyes. The sight of Ridge, the man he perceived as his eternal rival for Brooke's heart, intruding on his moment, threatening to sabotage his carefully planned proposal, triggered a reckless, dangerous impulse. With a sharp, aggressive twist of the throttle, Nick gunned the engine, the boat lurching forward with a violent roar, its sudden acceleration designed not just for speed, but as a blatant, aggressive snub to Ridge, a statement of dominance over Brooke and the situation. The powerful surge caught Brooke completely off guard. Balanced precariously on the wet, sloping deck, her hands scrabbling for purchase that wasn't there, the force of the acceleration wrenched her body backwards. One moment she was there, the wind whipping her hair, the next, a startled cry was ripped from her throat as her feet slipped, her balance utterly lost. Time seemed to fracture. Her arms flailed wildly against the empty air, a terrifying ballet of helplessness, before gravity and momentum claimed her. She plummeted backwards, a tangle of limbs and terror, hitting the churning, cold water of the lake with a sickening splash that echoed far louder than the boat's engine, vanishing beneath the surface as the boat sped away, Nick potentially oblivious in his rage-fueled focus on outrunning Ridge. Brooke Logan was in the water, alone, imperiled, her doomed decision culminating in a terrifying, life-threatening fall, while on the shore, Ridge's horror transformed into primal, life-saving action as he plunged into the water without a second thought, his mission to stop a proposal now a desperate race to save her life. Simultaneously, far from the Italian lakeside drama but no less charged with perilous tension, Dr. John Finn Finnegan found himself locked in a different, more insidious kind of battle back in Los Angeles, his innate sense of justice and medical intuition clashing violently with Grace Buckingham's increasingly desperate attempts to maintain a crumbling facade. Grace, a woman whose carefully constructed world seemed to be held together by secrets and sheer willpower, had been deploying every weapon in her arsenal, charm, deflection, veiled threats, emotional manipulation, to quiet Finn's relentless suspicions about whatever she was concealing, likely connected to Sheila Carter's sinister machinations or her own complicity in dangerous deceptions. She'd attempted to soothe him, to convince him his investigations were unnecessary, misguided, even harmful. "Finn, darling, you're chasing shadows," she might have purred, her eyes wide with feigned concern. "Let it go. Think of Steffi, think of the family peace. Some things are better left undisturbed." But Finn, forged in the fires of trauma inflicted by Sheila and possessing a doctor's unyielding need for truth and resolution, was immune to her tactics. Her pleas to stand down didn't soften his resolve, they hardened it. The more Grace pushed him to drop it, the brighter the warning lights flashed in his mind, confirming his deepest conviction: she was hiding something significant, something dangerous. Every evasive answer, every nervous flutter of her hands, every overly emphatic denial only served to dig his heels in deeper, his determination becoming an immovable object against the force of her desperate resistance. He would not be swayed, he would not be silenced. His pursuit of the truth was methodical, relentless, a scalpel slowly peeling back layers of deceit. And with each precise, unflinching incision Finn made into the mystery surrounding Grace, the deeper the trouble she found herself sinking into. Her secrets, once safely buried, were being exhumed by his unwavering focus, threatening not just her carefully curated image, but potentially her freedom and safety, as the shadow of Sheila Carter and past sins loomed ever larger. The stunning phone call that ignited chaos in Italy had its dark counterpoint in Finn's quiet, unwavering investigation in LA, both threads weaving a tapestry of impending crisis where love, jealousy, hidden truths, and a single, fateful step onto a boat's perilous edge would converge with terrifying consequences. Brooke's terrifying plunge into the cold water was the immediate, visceral catastrophe, but the ripples from Donna's phone call and Finn's digging promised waves that would engulf them all.